Check, check. All
Yo.
good. All good. My bad. All right. Perfect timing. Nice.
All right, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 24 of the Casual Podcast. What a week did we have this week? First of all, you got some new ink. I think.
I did. I got my first tattoo, and it had to be a manga based tattoo. We got. I don't know. Can you see
Bro.
that decently?
Yeah, it's like a little shiny, but yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, I got like that band-aid on it
It's
for a
not
week,
Zoro,
but
by the way, guys. It's not Zoro. I know it looks like him, but
Chihiro from Kagurabachi. That's gonna be the next big shonen. It might take a couple years for it to get animated, but you did hear it first here on the Casual Weebs.
yeah, listen, we typically, give you guys some primo low key sleeper animes. This one we're quite literally tattooing on us years before it comes out. So when we say we're
Heck
first at
yeah.
the scene, this one we really are first at the scene.
We're fully invested right out of the gates. And there's only like 45 chapters, so like I feel like if you wanted to get into like a cool manga that isn't like super long, it's a good one to jump into. The art, fire. Super, super good.
I might watch that simply because I've never seen somebody get a tattoo of something that wasn't animated yet. I mean, I feel like when something just get animated, it's like it's rough. It's like it's a gamble. It's a gamble. Anything can happen in anime. This is the wild fucking west. But before something gets animated, like you don't know. MCs die, bro. Akame got killed. MCs die.
Yo, the artist I went to, shout out Alex, you're the man. He had like these massive, massive posters of what's her name? Ryoko from or maybe Kill la Kill, but they were like gigantic.
Yeah, I don't think it's Akame got killed. I think it's what Kill a Kill. I heard of that, but I haven't seen it.
I forget what she's from. I thought it was a comic got killed, but yeah, very cool. They were like gigantic. I've never seen huge anime posters like that.
Dude, that is absolutely insane. But since you did get that tattooed, I might have to read that manga because that means it is really that good. But speaking of, and this is not necessarily confirmed or true, but I heard that they might be bringing in like a season 2 to Akame ga Kill because Akame, I guess, is technically the main character now. I mean, it is named after her, and I think that they were talking about like having her story continue, which I think would be sick. I hope so. I
That would
love
be really
Akame.
sick.
Yeah.
And I feel like the appetite for like adding another season or like revisiting shows that were popular, I think it's at an all-time high. So like, like they're talking about getting back into like another Tokyo Ghoul project. You know what I mean? Bringing stuff like that back, I feel like is a really good move. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, so am I. Hey, more anime? That's the best. And listen, One Piece has been absolutely insane. I'm gonna hopefully finish it soon. Videos are gonna be coming. Videos are gonna be coming about One Piece. I can tell you that much because, yeah, it's boys. If you haven't seen One Piece, watch One Piece and watch it from the beginning. That's all I'm gonna say. But hey, let's get into this week. My Hero Academia took another day off. Those lazy fucking fucks. I don't know why they keep taking every other week off. It really is like the pattern, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess we'll talk about it when we can talk about it. But Alya hides her feelings in Russian. Wistoria and Elusive Samurai gave us plenty to talk about this week. Plenty. So let's get into it. Which one do you want to talk about first?
You want to go with Elusive Samurai?
Okay. All right, let's go to Elusive Samurai. This was definitely a weirder episode. It's getting trippier, especially with like the animation and the way they're showing things. Like it's getting like I don't know. I feel like this episode was kind of like a step back for me because it stopped focusing on like certain main things. It had that trippy aspect to it where it's like, what the hell am I watching? But at the same time, it still delivered on a lot of other things. I think the action in this episode was actually like sick. I love how they're continuing action in every single episode. And with the new guy, that new thief dude, fucking hilarious. He got so drunk
Yo,
and started peeing on everybody. I was like, yo.
yeah, it was like I don't want to say a strange episode. Like half of it was like story related, and then half of it was just like absolute clownery. He's like literally hanging from the ceilings in that scene where they show all the samurai and everybody's like literally got their sword ready to kill this fucking kid. And he's just like pantsless hanging around from the ceiling.
Well, he was like harassing the shrine maidens, which is why the guys got pissed off. He's like hanging from the ceiling. He's got no pants on. He's like threatening to piss everywhere. Oh, dude, it was just so funny. So it was like, what the fuck? And then they're like, oh, we have to go discipline this idiot. So then they chase him down, tackle him, they're choking him out. He's like, stop. I'm sorry.
He's a cool character too, and like I like that kind of once like shit really hits the fan with Sarume, he like kind of leans into like his maybe past character because I don't feel like he really feels that way right now. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna look after myself. I'm gonna leave Tokiyuki behind. Screw this guy. And like he does kind of feel guilty about it, but then after like he really does have that confidence in him. I think he really does believe in him. And then it's pretty funny. They're like riding away, and he's like, all right, one province. So he went back on whatever that was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. He wants his land, which I think is a fair trade. But
Yeah, it is.
Genba's going to be a cool character, and I think we've said this before. Like his skills fit exactly what Tokiyuki's group needs, but also like his eccentric kind of like character, I think fits really well with everybody.
No, I totally agree, and he definitely adds a shit ton of comedy to this anime. Because oh my god, dude's a trip. I mean, even before shit hit the fan, watching him just knock back sake like it's nothing was one of the funniest things ever.
That was awesome.
Bro, it's so good. And then we still have yet to meet one of the people. That one kid, he seems like he's a bit older or just bigger. Another swordsman. So we still have to meet him. We're probably gonna meet him next episode. But yeah, it's getting insane. I mean, we have combat every single episode, which is sick. And that's what we wanted. We're like, hey, keep up with this action shit. Like this is what we kind of like, and they definitely are. So I can't wait for them to again just dig a bit more deeper into the story and kind of start running with it. You know, they're doing a lot of setup, which I love, and it's still early on. But yeah, when they start kind of getting the speed up, I feel like this anime is going to get insane. I feel like it's going to be crazy.
Definitely. I think it'll really take off, and hopefully people are enjoying it because it has a good balance of like you said, comedy. It's like kind of lighthearted and funny at times, but also like super fucking serious. We get that scene with the shogunate's son.
Oh my god, yeah.
Wicked. And then yeah, you have scenes like that. We go from Genba, PP to the world, like clowning around, to like some really heavy, intense scene with like, you know, dozens of people getting beheaded. And I think
Yeah.
that like that really stark contrast kind of reminds me of like one thing I really liked about Kaiju number 8. You have that like creepy horror, like the villains are really weird, the bug eyes. You have like Sarume's helper with like the mouse face.
Oh,
They're like
yeah. And
weird villains, but like Takeuji's like super creepy. Like he comes off as like like a divine, super nice guy, and then like you realize he's like not human at all. And the Shogunate's son says that something lies within him that is not human, and I'm like, all right, badass.
well, that's something we brought up. We actually talked about was that what episode where we saw what was it? There was something in his eye or something.
His eyes were like comprised of like hundreds of smaller eyes like within his pupil.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
crazy.
And it was talking about like how like you aren't like like the one dude was like I've been with you since you were a kid and you like aren't human anymore. It's like dude, something's actually up with him. Like it's insane. And I think when we get to that part in the story where we kind of dive deeper into that, that's gonna be awesome. Because yeah, he's like something's definitely up with him. The fact that he's like just moves his sword a little bit and beheads like dozens of people, and then everyone comes running to him. Oh my god, he drew his sword. Are you okay? Are you like? Did you not see him just slaughter like 30 people? And he barely moved his arm. Like he twitched, and 30 people got beheaded. He's like, "Oops, I'm sorry." Like the guy's a sociopath. He's a psychopath. He's possessed. He's evil. And like all these people love him, so it's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be crazy, and you saw how fast those people turned it from the Shogunate's son. He thought that they were there for him.
That was wild. It's been a while since I've been like itching to get into like a villain. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? I really can't wait to find out more about him or what the hell's going on inside of him. Some kind of demon or something. But I thought that was really interesting. All the people who immediately leave the Shogunate's son to go for, check up on Takeuji. He's got that like aura, if you will, or like
Yeah.
his charisma's very like likable. His personality's very likable, but people can't see past that surface, kind of charade that he puts on to see who Takeuji really is. Because I would feel like in feudal Japan, there was obviously a lot of like wars and clan, confrontation in that time period in history, but you'd be viewed as a traitor. You know what I mean? Like he did kind of go against the clan that he lived, as a part of for so long. So like for people to be like really drawn to him, I find surprising, but it's also like a really good plot point that people are fixated on somebody who just literally tried to wipe out the Hojo clan.
And what's crazy is that like even touching on that, the Shogunate's son came at him because of that. because he's like, you betrayed your old people. Like, why are we gonna trust you for you to just turn your back on us? Fuck that. That's why he was going after him and hunting him down. So it's kind of crazy that like both sides are against this guy right now. The new Shogun and then his Tokiyuki's clan. So the Hojo clan's also against them, also against this dude. Like it's kind of like the world against this guy, and he's just some like OP villain that like it just annihilates on the battlefield, but then is also like absolutely beloved. And speaking of Tokiyuki, what a beast, you know, jumping in front of that sword, getting cut on the back, and then just not even flinching. Like, dude's also running through the woods, losing so much blood, and he's like not bitching. He's like not showing weakness. He's just hanging in there. And then you can kind of see like this kid is a lighthearted kid who likes to have a lot of fun, but like, dude, he's like a warrior. Like it's not something that's really shown like his manly, you know, insane like warrior side, but like it's there. Like the kid is an absolute monster on the battlefield where he's not flinching. You know what I mean? Like the he's not hesitating to strike. Like he already beheaded somebody. He's taken on one of the best archers in the country in combat. Not nervous, not scared. He's locked in. Getting cut on the back, keeps going, not getting phased. Like the kid's kind of a beast.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's like one of the charms to this anime. I think he doesn't have that like bravado or like he's not jacked like our boy Will from Wistoria, but like he's got that boyish charm and he's like always blushing when stuff gets serious, which I think is an aspect I really like about it.
Mm-hmm.
But he also like was super selfless. Genba totally bails on him, leaves him out to dry, and he takes a huge cut to the back trying to save him. And I feel like that's really what earned Genba's trust. And he's like, he's lighthearted and playful, but he's also like deep down inside like a really good guy, and he embodies what you want in a leader. Somebody who's like pretty selfless. He's got a goal in mind, but he still put his life on the line for a dude he's known for like a day or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's crazy because like they're kind of both the same, like Tokiyuki and the other guy, the villain, where they're both like these beasts on the battlefield. Like Tokiyuki hasn't been proven yet, but they're also like very charismatic and beloved. So it's actually like insane seeing them go against each other, and especially because one is like evil and the other one's like good, but like they're the same kind. It's like you know what I mean. It's not like the villain who's evil is like just so awful and disgusting. You know what I mean? Like the typical demon lord, quote unquote. You know what I mean? He's actually like a guy who
Yeah.
would make a good emperor, but he's just fucking something's wrong with his head. He's a little possessed. He's a little not so there. You know what I mean? And then you have Tokiyuki, who's like the opposite, where he's like the same, where he's like, on the battlefield he can kick some ass. He's also beloved by people, where people are very loyal to him because he's a proven leader. You know what I mean? He's earned that respect, but at the same time, like he's a beast, and then he's like, but he's good. He's got good intentions. So I think that the contrast between them, where like they're very similar, but like a couple of things are different, is like also very cool.
Yeah, and like I guess that's one of the aspects I really love about the writing. You kind of said it perfectly. Like you have two very similar characters, but at the same time they're polar opposites. One is outwardly nice, even though he's inwardly obviously inhumane, some kind of demon or spirit or something, which I think would be cool to kind of touch on some of those, like, I don't know if it's like Buddhist or Shinto or whatever religious, connotation it has, but to have some like god or demon or whatever from that religion be within him or represented by
Mm-hmm.
Takauji. And like Tokiyuki's outwardly nice and like charming, and he's kind of playful and kind of a knucklehead. He like slacks off and stuff, but deep down inside he does have that like true sense of justice. He has like good moral values, and he is that leader you want to root for. So you have two of the same outwardly kind of like guys. I can't wait for those like ideologies to crash, and like once Tokiyuki gets to a certain point, and obviously he needs to come a little further. Some 8-year-old boy's not gonna decapitate this murderous demon right away. You know what I mean? But I'm really looking forward to that, and I think it just speaks on how well the authors kind of drawn up this
Yeah.
this first this first season, will so to speak, through however many chapters.
Yeah, I feel like you just said that better than I did. I feel like I talked in circles. You nailed that right on the head. It's going to be really cool to see how this kind of plays up, and especially towards the end of the season, and then a couple of seasons in when we really start to heat up, and it's the battle, and he's becoming that war hero that's been prophesized or foreseen. I feel like it's going to get crazy, and it's going to be very interesting to see those two. Especially like on the battlefield, but then off the battlefield. Because eventually, when he comes out and he starts fighting, because right now he's kind of like hidden. You know what I mean? He's keeping his name undercover. He's hiding within the shrine. It's going to be a battle within the people as well. of the territories they own. Because then when he comes out and he becomes the face of this rebellion to get his land back, the people are gonna root for him. They're gonna I don't know, support him. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a clash on the battlefield and off the battlefield as well, which is going to be very cool.
Yeah, really good point. I feel like feudal Japan is often tried, and as far as anime goes, I've not really been impressed. I don't think there's any like super sick ones. What the fuck is that called? Golden Kamui. That's not feudal. It's like the Russo-Japanese War, which I don't know, early 1900s. I don't really know, but like historical anime sometimes. Yeah, I have no idea honestly. It's before World War II. We'll leave it there. But like I feel like it's kind of hard to embody like the time period, but also give you those fantasy elements that anime, brings in. But I feel like they've done it extremely well, and Elusive Samurai is extremely well written so far. And
Oh, kind of like
yeah, I
Kenshin.
mean, yeah, like I liked Kenshin a lot, but people kind of hate on it. It is a little slow. I think it gets, the pacing's maybe a little slow, but it's hard to like kind of depict that and still give you that like fantasy aspect that anime brings. But coupled with like the fucking beautiful art style and again Cloverworks, they never miss. I think it's like the perfect pairing. I think it's so far a 10 out of 10. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, listen, when I start the Sekiro run on stream, if I can
Oh
name a
yeah.
character, it's gonna be Tokiyuki because like that's just sick. I mean, the guy's an absolute beast. You gotta love him. You gotta root for him, and I mean, like he is sick, and you want to see him get his land back. And I can't wait to really see him again on the battlefield. Again, I feel like that one guy that's with them. I feel like he kind of just holds them back. I feel like when something happens with him or something ends up going and they really start to let loose and kind of run with it, and we kind of see like real progression start to really like happen and push forward. I feel like it's just gonna like really open this anime up where it's like, yo, this is really fucking good. Each episode's gonna have you on the edge of your seat waiting for more.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm like waiting for it each week, and I feel the same way about like Wistoria and even My Hero's getting good now that Deku's finally showed up. But like
When they drop
just
episodes.
yeah, whenever they feel like it. But yeah, Elusive Samurai would be that and Wistoria. Definitely get into it because it's got almost everything that you'd want to see in an anime. Good characters, great art. The animation's pretty solid. You've got like some gore, some brutality, and that scene where the shogunate's son takes that big swing at Takauji and his back is turned and he just catches the sword like between his finger and his thumb, like behind his head. It was like, oh, you got to hang it up after that.
Yeah.
That's worse than dying. That you got clowned right there. It's time to hang it up. It's just got like everything to love.
Oh, dude, he fucking embarrassed. Like he just like oh my god, dude, he's his father now. I mean, it does not matter. Like he owns you, bud. I mean, the fact that
Yeah,
every level he just fucking asserted dominance on that Shogunate son. It was absolutely insane.
100%. You got to serve after that. You got to fall in line.
Yeah, 100%. All right, yo, we getting into a story or I'll hide your feelings in Russian.
What do you go for it? You take the pick.
I mean, both of them have a lot to talk about. Let's get into Wistoria, okay?
All right,
Sion,
stick.
motherfucker, what is this dude doing? Like, I kind of
Sion.
see where he's coming from. Sion, yeah, Sion got baited hard. I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad. Like he got baited. Like that's something I keep bringing up. I just feel bad because it was just hook, line, sinker. You saw how excited he was when Colette was like, "Hey, like, you wanna join my team?" And he's like, yeah, like it was a Sanji moment. Like his jaw was on the floor, he was drooling, and he
Yeah.
was so happy. He's like, "Oh, about time she realized I'm the one for her." And then he just
Yeah.
walks in the room and sees Will, bro. Bro just got fucking embarrassed, and then Will kind of like again like pardon the language, but like big dicks him. Like it
Hell
completely
yeah.
ignores him, and as Julius walks in, he just stares at Julius, doesn't even care about him. He even says he's not even looking at me. Like this motherfucker is not even looking at me. Like this is insane. Like I kind of feel for him. I see why he's pissed. Do I think he picked the wrong time to fight Will? Absolutely. But I can see his frustration. I mean, this guy is just taking L's everywhere he goes. He's being slept on when it comes to the betting odds. Now he's getting baited by a girl he thinks that likes him but does not. Likes the guy he hates. You hate to see it. Then Will doesn't even fucking pay attention to him. The guy with no magic doesn't even give a fuck about him. Like it's like the low of the low not even caring about you. It's absolutely insane. And let me defend him one more time, even though I can barely pronounce his name. I will say this: he's the only one who respects Will, and I think he respects Will more than Colette does because he's pissed that Will's not looking at him. anyone else doesn't give a shit. They're like, oh, Will's a, oh, was it the laggard they call him? Like they're like, oh, this guy's
Yeah.
a fucking loser. Who cares? Like Shion actually cares. It means a lot to him that Will like would acknowledge him because he sees how strong Will is. And you know what I put in my notes? He's the only motherfucker that went after Will and told him to pick up the sword. Everyone else challenged Will and fought him when Will was unarmed. He was the only one who's like, pick up your sword, we're fighting. I want to fight you armed. So there is a tremendous amount of respect between the two. So I can see why he's upset. I appreciate that he like told Will to arm himself. Finally, someone's not a pussy and wants to fight him straight up. And you know, I think there's a lot to it. I think that he's going to be that complex character that like, how do I say it? He's going to be like the Sasuke of this anime. He's going to be like, what are some of the other like characters that are kind of like you're kind of mixed on. You know what I mean? Sometimes you hate them, sometimes you love them, and then at the end you understand them. Like, and then you're like, oh, you know what? This character's actually pretty sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Like that, I don't know,
He's the
angsty,
Bakugo
emotional.
from My Hero Academia.
That was my first thought. Bakugo,
Yeah,
I still feel like Bakugo's a prick, but he still
yeah.
like means well deep down.
Mm-hmm.
You you made a really good point. I never actually thought of that. He is the only one who not only respects Will, but like views him as an equal. He might not be like a magic, a great what do you want to call it, wizard, spellcaster, whatever the fuck it is. But he's like he knows his strength and he does feel he has this like inferiority complex for some of the things you listed. Like he's totally slept on despite having some like really powerful fire spells. And in this like elemental kind of clash, I mean, he matches up really well against some of these other people, like on paper. So I could see like him being slighted and feeling that way. But that scene when he walks in and he's like, yeah, basically got played by Colette, the girl he obviously he's fallen for. He sees Will there, and then like him and Julius are like glaring at each other, and he's like, "Yo, neither of these guys are even paying attention to me." So you do make a really good point, and the fact that he was like, "Yeah, pick up your sword." I'm with you. Terrible fucking timing, but like he wants to get it off his chest, and I think he'll put up a good fight. But I hope Will. I feel like Will's at his breaking point. Like he's tired of the disrespect, and he wants Julius to come clean. But if he's got to beat Sion to get there, I think he does it without
Yeah.
like screwing over his team. He'll make him submit and be like, "All right, let's win this, and then we'll figure it out after the competition's done."
I even think Shion even looks at Will as a superior, because think about this: like the number one kid in the school, okay, Will was staring at Julius, the number one kid in the school. He didn't care that Julius wasn't looking at him. He cared that Will wasn't looking at him. You know, he had the opportunity to fight Julius right there, and he said, "Will, pick up your sword. I'm fighting you. I don't give a fuck about Julius." You know what I mean? So, like, with that being said, he's kind of in a way viewing Will as his only true competitor. You know what I mean? If he can
And
beat
he
Will, he can beat anybody.
he did say like, "I would have rather have died on the spot right there than been saved by like the no talent kid." So like, yeah, he does kind of view him like as a superior in the way that like I have to make up for being saved by him. I have to beat him to like prove to myself that it was a fluke or, whatever, however he views it. But it's kind of crazy. Like everybody's kind of like actively rooting against Will. And the more he displays his skills and shows like how badass he is and even his synergy with Colette, I thought was
Mm-hmm.
really cool. People are
Oh,
like, oh,
badass! That was fucking
wow.
sick.
That was so cool. Like the gauntlet and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was a good way of like giving Will magic and making him like a team player and they're working together without just like, her summoning some like magic sword or whatever that, makes up for the fact he doesn't have anything. You know what I mean? I thought it was pretty well done.
She did like craft a sword, and she didn't maybe put magic
Any.
on it yet, but she might. You know what I mean? But like that's the thing where I feel like if anyone's gonna like argue with us right here, it would be because oh well, Shion keeps saying like all these horrible things to Will, keeps belittling him, putting him down. It's like the old school thinking where like oh you need magic to be good, and then this kid's defying that, so it's hard for people to think that way. So I feel like Shion in his head is like really struggling with that because he sees how strong Will is and how much of a threat he is, but at the same time he's like in denial where he's like oh no like you can't even use magic like you're pathetic. It's more so he's not calling Will that, but he's telling himself that because that's what he needs to believe that Will is, you know, in order to like comprehend it, but he can't, and that's the struggle that he's facing right now, and why like right now he needs to fight Will. He needs to fucking deal with this, which is so stupid because smack Julius's bitch ass, you know what I mean? Get the number one kid out of the way. take that dub, and then also show everybody what Will can really do. Because if you beat Will when everyone still thinks he's a deadbeat, well, then no one's going to be impressed that you beat Will. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have
Very
Will
good
prove
point.
himself to everybody, and get Julius out of the way. So I think that, he's a hothead, and of course, any flame user in any anime, is going to be a hothead. It's in literally every
True.
anime. So I think it's more so just like typical behavior of that and keeping on to that like trope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think also, which is another trope, he comes from like nobility. He's from like a famous family. I'm sure his dad or like older brother or older sister, is some like super elite special wizard or was like one of the best at the school or in their class or whatever. So he has that to contend with too. So like, I guess now that we really are talking about it, I can really empathize with him and you feel for him. You got to pick your spots better. You're definitely right. If he would have, as a team, they would have like crushed Julius right there, like,
Mm-hmm.
set up to, then he earns more credibility with everybody because they saw Will's clearly not a no talent anymore. Like he's got some skill, but then you beat him on top of that. That would have earned him a little more respect, but I think he's just in his feelings and I think yeah, he just feels inferior. He's got that complex about him.
And because of it, they're gonna lose because they're looking for the other two teammates of Julius. They're after the crown. Like they're not gonna forget why they're there. Julius is just a distraction that's gonna hold all the other teams up while his teammates go take the crown and take the dub. So I feel like yeah, they're gonna lose, which is gonna suck. But at least Shion's gonna be able to work some shit out, and Will's gonna be able to prove himself. So there's gonna be some dubs coming from this. But do you want to talk about your girl that you keep bringing up? We saw a lot about her this episode.
Yeah, so that was huge. We finally that old lady is like the head of the college or the school,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So like, is she an aide? Is she like posing as a student? Like, it's super interesting. She uses her like actual persona with the I don't know if they gave her a title, the chancellor, the president, the headmaster, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call her. Granny. I'll just call her Granny. But like, she was surprised to see her leaving so soon. But then Iris, her name's Iris, right?
I think so. I was confused because at the same time I thought that she was the Earth Princess or whatever it was called. Like she was the one who was racing or something. They looked like they were the same person,
Yeah,
but then that's why I got
they're
confused.
different. Yeah, they're different. I'm gonna go with Iris. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, let's
I'm
go with
pretty sure
Iris.
that's her name.
I'm totally wrong here.
Then she like puts her glasses on and like totally
Changes her
changes that
voice.
persona. And then she's like cheering for her senpai, like in the stands in front of everybody. Like it's a total 180. So like I want to know what her position is and like does this Chancellor Granny lady have anything to do with it? Obviously she's taken an interest in Will and she knows about Will,
Hmm.
just like Workner does because she's excuse me. She had that conversation with Wergner and Edward
I'm keeping
about
that in, but
Will's
I'm
like,
not putting context.
all right, perfect. Hell yeah. She's like, had that conversation about him going to the dungeon and kind of doing stuff he's not supposed to do. So I think she's very aware, which means her and Iris have some kind of agenda where they recognize Will's not only talent, but his uniqueness in the world that they live in. So that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, we kind of dive into it at least a little bit by the end of the season. But I'm glad we got some action this episode too. Like
Yeah.
everything's kind of coming together, not moving too fast, but we're moving forward.
So we're calling that girl Iris then, right?
I'm like 90% sure. I literally
So
looked it up the other day.
so here's the thing with that girl. I actually think she's from the Upper Institute. I think she's from the Tower. And that's why I think we're gonna call her Granny for now on. She's Granny to us boys. Um, I think the reason why Granny was like, "Hey, like you leaving so soon," is because I think she was there as a scout, and I think that she was scouting for the Upper Institute, like the tower. And that's when she was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm leaving, so I gotta go cheer on Will." I think she's taking a special interest in Will, and honestly, a bit of a prediction here. I actually think she works for Will's childhood best friend.
I literally just hopped on the wiki. Ding ding ding! We got it, folks. Nailed it.
It's Iris.
He, he's friends with. I just read her name. What is it?
Did you just skip her name and read the spoiler instead?
Now there's like nothing on her, but like
Okay.
she's not really like what do we want to call it, classist or whatever. Like she doesn't care that Will doesn't have magic, but his childhood friend like raved about Will and how he is as a person and how strong he is and stuff, and that's what made her like take an interest in him, which I don't think we got a scene with either of them yet, and
Wait,
I can't
so
remember.
was that so that does happen? So is she
Yeah,
from the Upper
that's like
Institute then?
it doesn't say that. She just that she's like posing as a underclassman, which makes me think she's not. But it
Yeah, I
doesn't
don't think
say
she
whether she.
is. I don't
But
think
why
she
would she
is.
be hanging around the
To spy on Will.
Yeah, and I
I think
think
she's there for
Chancellor
Will.
Granny has something to do with that.
Chancellor Granny.
Cause like you gotta think, yeah, that's what I'm
What
gonna
is
roll
she,
with
a
that.
fucking Sith? Like what?
It's a badass title for like an old lady who runs a magic school.
Is that gonna be the Casual Weebs podcast inside joke? Is that she's Chancellor Granny? Like that's what we're gonna call her from
Chance,
now on.
I'm gonna roll with it.
We're gonna have new
I'm sure she
people.
has a name I've missed.
We're gonna have like new people like watch. I'm like, who the fuck is Chancellor Granny?
Like these dudes even know who they're talking about? Vaguely, yes, sort of. We just don't know their names.
We're getting there. We learned the MC names at least, right? We're getting. Tokiyuki. I wrote that one down. Like we're getting there. We're getting better with names.
Rolling, yeah, slow but steady.
Will. See, if they're more like Will, like it's gonna be easy. Colette, like easy names.
If they're like a name of somebody, like a previous character, like a
Yeah.
VTuber or like somebody I know, I can remember that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I slipped that in there. Big fan of Iris. I won't forget that one.
All
Keep your
right.
pride. Don't admit it. Don't admit it.
All right. All right. What were we talking about?
Yeah, like I don't know if she's from like I guess the tower or like whatever comes next, the upper institute you said.
Yeah, which is in the
She's got to
tower, I
be
believe.
she's got to have some sort of authority for her to be hanging around, like the head of the school and like she kind of has the flexibility to maybe do what she wants. Like she's eating in the cafeteria, then she's like
Yeah.
cheering everybody or cheering Will on in the stands. Like I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what her thing is and like
That's why
why she's interested in Will.
That's why I thought she was a scout, because scouts were there from the Upper Institute to like watch these kids, and I think that she's taking interest in Will. Because like the thing is, it's not like this festival is the only time that people come down to scout. It's just the time that they choose to. They're fucking in the tower, they're busy, they're like, you got shit to do. You know what I mean? This is the best way to see their abilities and to really have them be tested. You know what I mean? And I think this girl, which is why I think she's friends with Will's childhood friend, but she's probably like, hey, like keep an eye on him. Like he there's something special to him. Don't sleep on him. Like he'll be here soon. So that's why she went down. It's like, okay, well let's see what this kid's about. That's why she took that, like, I guess more of an interest and gave more time into like, okay, let's go in the dungeon and play the damsel in distress to get close to him, and then go to the games, but instead of watching from the sides, really kind of get in there and then support him and kind of tie herself to him, and follow him around in the school where she's not taking the direct approach, where she's kind of just watching him from afar and seeing what he does type thing. So yeah, I think she's a scout. I think that it's going to be talked about more when he gets to the Upper Institute, which I think is going to be crazy. I can't wait for next episode. The fights are going to be insane. Yeah, I think
Heck
they're going to
yeah.
lose, but do you think he beats Sion? Sion? Do you think he fights
I,
Julius?
no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Julius's teammates are going to go get the crown, or like there will be a battle at the stadium with the other teams and stuff. I think he'll beat the shit out of Sion, and like right as he's about to like either land that last blow or like before he really starts getting upset or something, they'll hear that like Julius's squad, is going after the crown, and then they'll be like, all right, let's pick this up later. Let's get our shit together. But yeah, I think they'll lose too. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, sadly, I want to see that dub. I want to see that dub.
I just want Will to get some respect, and I think this, no matter what happens, I think he will garner some like credibility. It'll be like, all right, well, he was taking down the golems. He beats up Sion. He might beat up Julius. Like people will finally give him, knock the laggard tag off him, and even if he
Colette
doesn't
got
have
respect
magic,
too.
yeah, I mean everybody's got like they appreciate any type of magic. It's like Will's just the butt of the joke, but I think that's coming to an end either next episode or the following week, because we're at like that tension point where he's got to either fight Sion or Julius, and something's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, more so like people were looking at Colette's respect. People were looking at Colette's magic and were like yo, like she's actually fucking insane. Is that Will being like an absolute beast, or is that just Colette being very, very talented? And I think what was it? Will's your mate was like it's both. Like you know what I mean? Like not anyone can do that and
Yeah,
help out Will, and it's just Will in that way. Like Colette's using an insane amount of magic, but she's also super disciplined and doing a very good job. But then at the same time, Will has that like insane reflexes and combat experience and strength to then be able to then take that and actually do something with it. And I kind of forget because I think I was like editing or something when I was watching it. I forget. But did the teacher give Will respect? The teacher that was commentating, the one that he took on in the
Edward.
fight. I forget because I forget the first part of what he said, but I think he was talking about like, oh yeah, it's also Will. Like Will's got like he spent a lot of times like Will's abilities is from someone who spends a lot of times in the dungeons, and he's able to then foresee and counter certain moves and predict certain things, and have the strength and ability to then handle the golems and everything else. I forget did he give him the respect or did he kind of shit on him?
Yeah, he like indirectly gives him a compliment because everybody's kind of like, oh, that annoying ass fucking announcer dude is like, oh, how will they deal with the golems? And he makes that comment. Yeah, I thought he was like,
The annoying
long
fucking
one.
kid.
Yeah, yeah, he's just some student. I'm like trashing him. But yeah, he does kind of give him a compliment, and I think after he landed that blow on Edward, he does have that respect. And even though he might not admit it because he's that like purist magic guy like everybody else in Wistoria,
Yeah.
he still recognizes Will's talent and even just the hard work he's put in. Whether or not he succeeds and does well, he recognizes like the efforts that Will's made with his situation. Which for me, he says Edward's by far the most hated teacher, and like everybody thinks he's like super rude, which isn't wrong, but it was cool that he kind of indirectly gave him a decent compliment.
Bro, that kid was so fucking funny when he was just absolutely dogging on that teacher. He's like, yeah, bring a coffin to class next time. He's like, I'm so sorry. Please don't kill me.
Yeah, that was so good.
I was like,
So Edward's funny. He's got some humor.
well, yeah, I don't think he was joking.
Yeah, no, you're right. He wasn't joking.
Dude, I'm like, this kid's got balls just fucking saying that right next to that teacher. Like, all right, bud, like, if you don't like living, I guess, good idea. Like, just absolutely dogging on it from in front of everybody. Like, that takes balls. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, in front of the entire school.
What's it called too? Yeah, that was absolutely insane. Very good episode. Can't wait to see what comes out more in the future with it. But I mean, should we switch over to Alya hides her feelings in Russian? Because oh my god, was this an episode?
Woo, that
Talk
was a heater, man.
talk about just ruthless, just that dog. I mean, Yuki. There's no surviving Yuki. Like Yuki is like OP, and like even the MC admits it. He's like yeah, like everyone went against Yuki, and they lost the will to fight. Like quite literally, that's what he said. Like the one girl quite literally lost the will to fight in the presidential debate, whatever, for student council president, because she went after Yuki and Yuki just destroyed her. Like that's insane.
Yeah, and Kuze brings up that like she was like ultra popular and was like definitely the front runner for it. But like what Yuki did like in the work she put in, and obviously like she's charismatic and popular too. She was able to win that election and kind of like yeah, like you said, like dominate like the will to fight. And like we definitely see that we get that scene where she like tricks Alya into like coming to do some like student council thing with her. She just pulls her into the room and is just like super upfront with everything, which Alya doesn't know the truth, but I thought that was hysterical. You definitely hit it right on the head last week when you were like, Yuki is definitely gonna like, make things happen and push people and get the story moving.
Oh, for sure. Like it's the same thing with Masha as well, where they're kind of like, they, it's not like they're on Alya's side or the MC side. You know what I mean? It's not like oh, we're just doing things out of the kindness of our hearts so they get together. It's kind of like we're gonna expedite things. You know what I mean? Instead of you taking your sweet ass
Yes.
time, it's either you're gonna get shit done or I'm gonna get shit done. And that was hilarious, bro. Like Yuki is like a shark that just smells blood. And like even he said too with like the debates and stuff, he's like, yeah, like there was like a record low amount of people, competing this year to see who's gonna become, or running to be a student council president. That's because Yuki's a part of this. Like she's scaring people away. And then we also see, why? Because she seems to be that like funny, charismatic, Kazuma type character. And then, you see her with Aya, who's supposed to be the ice queen, and oh my god, she rips her apart in that classroom. just completely tears her down. Like, I was like, oh, Alya, like, you're not going to survive. Just run. Just find someone else. You know, I mean,
You
there's
got no chance.
plenty of fish in the sea. Like, she's going to kill you. Like, she's going to eat you alive. She's going to have so much fun with you. It's going to be bad. It's like a Rottweiler with, like, that little squishy, you know, chewy toy where it just completely rips it apart. And it's like, all right, like, this is why you can't have nice things. That's Yuki and Alya, which is insane. But I think when Alya got back, that was, like, the funniest part, too. How she, like, goes next to him and he's like, excuse me? Like, personal space?
Personal space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was just, oh, dude, the whole thing was just so funny. Like, I was just dying this episode.
Really, really good episode. And like, I was dying when Yuki's just like, yeah, I love Kuze more than anything in the whole world, which is like not terribly like
Oh,
out of left field for like, you know, a sibling to love their other sibling. But Alya was just like, oh my God, what? Like, just so forthright with her feelings. Like, it just gets to show you Yuki's definitely got her in the palm of her hand.
it's not even that. So, what's it called? So she said, yeah, I love him more than anyone, like, even more than mom and dad. But the thing is that she didn't clarify my mom and dad. So, like, the thing is, she's kind of, like, in a way admitting that they're siblings.
Yeah, Alya didn't pick up on that. And
Yeah.
she doesn't say like our mother and father, just like mother and father. That's a very
Yeah.
like quick thing to miss, but yeah, Alya did not pick up on that. She was mad intimidated.
Yeah,
And then
she's
like
fucking scared.
she was like, "Oh, how much do you love Kuze-kun?"
She pressed
was
him.
just
I
like
mean, she pressed her. She fucking got up in her face and like pushed her against like the door. Like, yo, she straight up pressed Alya. She went to toe with the Russian and scared the shit out of her. Like, it was insane.
just like you said, like a Rottweiler, dude. She's and like we do kind of get finally out of Alya that like she's like, "Oh yeah, like you can't have him." Like she doesn't admit anything,
Yeah.
but then obviously when she comes back, she's like, "Oh yeah, it's bad luck for a woman to sit at the end of a table." Which like I don't know if that's real or not. I think her sister might have covered for her, but that was pretty funny. And even like their interactions at the restaurant, I thought was hysterical.
Bro, I love all their interactions because I love Alya's too. How like, okay, she gets back, you know, she's feeling very like insecure, vulnerable because she knows Yuki's like out to get her man. She's very scared, so she gets like really close with the personal space. All the MC does is just look over and she's like, "What? You got something to say? Huh? Huh? Say it." And he's like, you know, personal space. He's like, it's rude for a young Russian girl to be at the corner of a table. It's bad manners. She's like, is that true? She's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she's waiting for it, but she's like, she's like trying to do stuff, but then she like when she does it, she's like, oh shit. Like she kind of like doesn't have the confidence to follow through, which is why she instantly gets on the defensive and comes at him. And it's just so fucking funny. And then meanwhile, then it just pans over to Yuki, who's fucking just dying. She's just laughing and smiling, and he's like, "Yep, something happened. Yep, yep."
He's like, "Oh
I knew
no,
it.
something definitely happened." And then like he asks her later on, I guess when they're walking back from the restaurant, like, "Oh, did something happen?" And she's
No,
like
at the
very coy
restaurant.
about it.
It was at the
Or
restaurant,
yeah,
at the
yeah,
table. Yeah.
yeah. She's like pretty coy about it, but she's like, "Oh yeah, are you guys dating?" And Kuze's just like, "Hell nah." I thought that was so funny. Which like, yeah, it's his sister, but at the same time, like,
Why not
he
just
doesn't
say
want her to know
that?
that.
Why isn't he ever just admitting it?
Clarify. You look so weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would just totally finish everything. But then obviously we'd lose a good plot point, and Yuki would lose her control of the situation. But
I think it'd
very,
be even
very
funnier
funny.
though, because then Alya would be like, "What the fuck's the matter with you?" You know what I mean? Like, I feel like but it's just
Yeah.
one of those things where like he clarifies that it'll never happen in a million years. Like, absolutely not. Like, that's never happening. You never like, no, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, just no. But like, you could have just like said why it's a no. You know what I mean? You could have just said why it's a hard pass or why you never do that, and that'd make more sense. But it's like you had so many fucking opportunities. But again, you know, he's a little sadistic as well. Like, it runs in the family because we had the hot sauce scene yet again. Like, he's torturing this poor fucking girl, and the angel and the devil on his shoulder was just so goddamn funny.
So good, dude. Like the little like comedic relief things they do. I mean, the whole show's pretty funny. Like very well done. I was like not expecting all that, but I was laughing through like this whole episode.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if you've ever had dishes where they put like the chili peppers in there,
No.
and like like if you eat that, that shit is hot. Like I was like, damn, I can't believe he's gonna do that to her, and he's even like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like
No.
I don't.
Why he did it's even worse because Masha's like, hey, don't do that, just tell her, you know what I mean? It's not like Yuki's there, you don't have to like fucking put her through this torture shit. You can just say, hey, I know you don't like spicy food, don't worry about it. And then Yuki takes like the angel Masha and throws her to like infinity.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like throws her out of this dimension. And she's like, remember, like, think about it. It's just gonna get really hot, and her eyes are gonna water up, and her face is gonna be so cute. You think her face is cute when she waters up like that? And
Yeah.
he's like, you're right. And it's like, you sadistic piece of shit. Like, you just want to see her in pain. Like, what the, like, both of you are fucking like sadistic. It's absolutely insane. They're completely related. It was just, and then he did it, and he's like, oh yeah, here's the pepper. You know what I mean? Get, like you just said, gives her the hottest part of it. Not even like a little taste of like the sauce or something. And it's like, bro. Like, you're fucking. Oh, this guy's an idiot. This guy is an idiot. He's doing so many things where he doesn't have to.
You're so right. Him and Yuki are definitely siblings. That runs in the family for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But the scene where like obviously she knows what she's doing, Alya, when she like gives him some of her parfait or the ice cream or whatever, and Kuze inside is like going crazy. He's like trying to play it off. And as soon as he takes a bite, they cut to the rest of the restaurant and
I
everybody's
was about
like,
to say that. I was about to
what?
say.
He's like, she has no idea what she's done.
Like, everyone in the background's just like, like, what the fuck?
Like all eyes. Yeah, it was so good. That whole scene at the restaurant was just outstanding.
By the way, Alia slammed Sugar like a fucking, like, an overweight 12-year-old. Like, it is absolutely insane how much sugar she downs because she went and she got like the parfait and like the sugary drink at the restaurant. But did you see the massive plate of fucking jam that her sister gave her? It was like a
Yes. Oh my
mountain.
God.
Like yo, like she is a fiend for sugar. It's insane. It's like, how are you like in shape? I'd be like, how does she not have diabetes? It is absolutely insane. But I think
Yeah.
that's so funny. It's so funny.
Also, I've never heard of that. Like Russian people drink tea and eat jam with it.
Oh
At
yeah.
first, I was like, I'm like, oh, that's like interesting. I've never heard of that. I'm like, yo, that sounds like kind of fucking delicious. I want to
Mhm.
try that.
Yeah, but it's like, if you think about it, like it makes a whole lot of sense because like it's just a different way people have tea. It's like some people like will put a little bit of sugar in their tea, well, the sugar and jam, and then also jam has got like, it depends how what it's made or like how it's made, like the brand or whatever. Like it's fruit, so you know you think it's like a good way to then add a little flavor to the tea. So like I gotta try it. I think I had it before just like by accident, but like yeah, it's like a genius idea. It's really smart.
Very smart. I'm gonna have to try that. I'll figure that out this week or weekend. But I need some authentic Russian tea in my life with jam.
I need some authentic Russian women in my life. So.
Well, you're not wrong there. Definitely agree.
Tea's all right, but some cold hearted Russian. That's
Dude,
where it's
absolutely.
at.
Keep life interesting, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, it's so funny because you'd think that Ali would be the kind of like the sadist, and I love how it's like Yuki, the person who's like so outgoing and like it seems like they're so friendly and kind. I just think that also contrast is also very very funny.
Yeah, everybody's like inner personalities are different than like the outward personality they show to the world. Like Kuze's definitely kind of a little bit of a pervert, and yeah, like you said, definitely sadistic, but it's all pretty funny because like they do hide some of that aspect of their character.
Yeah. Do you remember the scene? When I think she said it in Russian. I think she said it in Russian, where he was like something about that being weird doing that with people, and then she said in Russian like, "Oh, like you're the only one I do that with," right? And
Yeah.
I was crying when he was like, "Hey, hey, hey, arigato."
Arigato!
It was like
Yeah, dude.
that thing. It was just like his laugh was so fucking weird. Like I
I
don't know if you
love
remember
his
that
like
scene. I had me
inner
crying.
yeah, his inner like monologue is so good. He's such a knucklehead sometimes. That was awesome.
Bro, I had me fucking dying. It was absolutely insane. And now let's talk about the final bit. One of the most important parts of the episode, the mystery girl, the fourth girl in the cover art, now being introduced. And man, is he pissed. It's definitely an ex-girlfriend.
His face when Ayano walks in and
Hmm.
gets introduced as Yuki's running mate, he's like not even annoyed, just like almost worried or anxious or like concerned, like
I thought he
He
seemed
doesn't
like
even.
mad, like kind of like you gotta be. Because the whole thing was we thought it'd be the girl with the short hair who was like the front runner that against Yuki in middle school, who was like, oh, if
That's
they
what I
team up,
expected.
it's gonna be tough, we're fucked. And then it was this girl, and he's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, like her,
It's like
like
even worse.
yeah.
Like his
So
reaction, he's like, that feels worse.
I think it's like an X or something. I think it's someone who does not get along with him at all.
That would actually be a really, really good plot point.
Hmm.
One, because Yuki, you're a nut. To do that to your brother is diabolical, but also it would make that like little campaign arc, I think, a lot more interesting and a lot more like exciting between the characters. Because we didn't really meet Ayano other than that very brief final scene of the episode.
Yeah, so that's why I came in for next episode because like it's kind of cool how we have like the two Russian girls, Masha and Alya, who are going after the MC's heart, and we have Yuki who's just a fucking gremlin, just starting fires and just burning it all to the ground and causing chaos. And now we might be having a new character that is not gonna be part of this possible harem. It's not gonna be going after our MC's heart, but it's just gonna be fucking setting ablaze everything, just absolute chaos, and I'm all for it. I think it'll be a good mix. I actually think it'll be nice to have like someone who's not like a part of like the romance side of it. You know what I mean? It's not another competitor type thing. It's like, oh, it's someone who's gonna fuck shit up. It's someone who's gonna start shit, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I think, and I'm super excited to see that in the next episode.
Dude, I'm absolutely with you. I think if she just like stirs the pot and kind of plays that same role that Yuki does just to try and make things like a little harder or like expedite some of these situations or like force people into, uncomfortable positions where they got to like reveal their feelings and stuff. I think her and Yuki will make a diabolical team. So, very much looking forward to the next couple episodes.
And Yuki seemed like she had that reaction where it's not like,
Or
oh,
like
I have a good running mate. It's like, oh, I have a good partner in crime. Like, you motherfuckers are done.
that sly, evil smile she had sitting at the table. It's just like she knows exactly what she's doing.
Bro, Yuki's like, I don't know, like it's tough to like praise Yuki because then like weird shit happens. You're like, and everyone's like, that's the person. It's like,
Yeah, well, not that part. Not the Wincest part. Everything but that.
but like she is such a good character because like I've never had a romance anime that has had that character that creates this level of chaos. You know what I mean? Like every romance anime kind of has that character, the kind of like the goofball best friend type thing. Like, but Yuki takes it to a whole nother level, and that aspect of it is just done so well, and it's just like so entertaining, and it's just so cool. And I think it's
Yeah,
making it like really enjoyable and adding that next level to Aya Hides Her Feelings Rush and just really setting it apart.
yeah, and they like. She reminds me of Yay Mori from Rent a Girlfriend, but they don't bring her in until like I don't know. I guess the end of the second season. So having that like dynamic from the beginning, I think exactly like you said, it kind of sets it apart and like it's made it a lot more fun rather than like having to wait for that character to like kind of like you said start pushing things forward and forcing things on people and forcing people to like confront uncomfortable situations. Yuki's a really well written character, even if she does some of those like we'll call them unsavory acts.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's sick. I think anime this week has been phenomenal, like it is every week. It's been sick. So I hope you guys are enjoying. Is there anything else you want to say about any of these animes, or
I feel like everything's been good. Like
yeah?
I feel like we say the same thing every week. Like yeah, we're eating, everything's been good, but like every week I'm like super excited to see Wistoria. I'm super excited to see what chaos happens on Alya. You know what I mean? There's just so much good stuff going on, and whenever my hero decides to show up, I'm sure that'll be badass too. The last couple episodes have been good,
Yeah, I'm
but
hearing this
yeah.
season will end in winter. When they get around to it, eventually it's gonna go to one a month.
Oh, are they really going
No,
to
I'm
winter?
joking.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, what kind of fucking schedule is that? All right, cool. But yeah, like everything's been really good. Like I just feel like we're super lucky. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm too gullible. You can't do that to me.
But the sad thing is that it's so fucking believable because it's like, what are you guys doing every
Yes.
other week? Like, it's insane where we keep looking to be like, yo, is My Hero Academia come back? And it's like, nope. It's like, what? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I knew the manga just officially ended, which
Wait, seriously? The
people.
ending just happened for My Hero Academia?
Yeah, it's officially over.
I haven't seen any spoilers. How is that possible? Usually, the second people read it, they instantly come out and they're like, "Oh, here's what happened," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck you." You know what I mean?
I
I
heard
haven't
like
seen that
really,
yet.
I heard like really mixed reviews about it, but I think people kind of forget that My Hero's more like, I don't know, they're not like killing characters like a Jujutsu Kaisen would, or
Yeah,
you know,
just
a more
hot
like,
moms. It's bullshit.
yeah, like yeah, like people were kind of like, they had their gripes about the ending or like how the last arc played out, and I think there's a lot to love about it, but it's not that kind of like anime or manga where you're gonna kill off like half the other students. It wouldn't really make much sense, but yeah, 10 years, man. And then like we had kind of touched on like the author writing that like piece, or the drawing of Smoker for One
Yeah.
Piece, and then Oda used that in one of the recent chapters for One Piece, which is like a really cool nod to Horikoshi, the artist for My Hero. But yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot of these are going to end, you know, within a couple years, and I am fully confident at this point that like all the new stuff, all the new gen, Kaiju, you know, Windbreaker was sick, Kagurabachi. At this point, I'm fully invested, so it's got to be fucking sick
Well, yeah, completely. He's on your body. Like,
forever. But I think it'll be dope. And then Sakamoto Days is coming out on Netflix. I think that's really, really, really cool. It's got some super badass scenes. I think the next gen will be outstanding. I think we're in good
my
hands.
only worry about the next generation is the attention span. I feel like we've talked about this about how they're way more straight to the point, faster paced, and they're not as long. Like My Academia just lasted what, like 10 years? I mean, look how long Bleach, Naruto, One Piece went on for. Attack on Titan. You look at a lot of these animes that have like 5, 6, 7 plus seasons, and it's like you kind of want to see that with certain animes, and I feel like we're just not going to see that. You know what I mean? We're going to start seeing animes that only have maybe four. We're gonna start seeing like animes that Demon Slayer, for example, that has what, 3 seasons, and it's gonna have 3 movies. You know what I mean? So it's borderline gonna be like 4.5 seasons. I just don't want to see the new gen end too soon. I want them to like let it air out and breathe a little bit, kind of get deeper into certain aspects instead of just like steamrolling through it. But you got to do it as fast as humanly possible, or people are going to forget and something new is going to come out and everyone's going to go there. You know what I mean? So I hope that the new gen brings longevity with it, and it is too soon to tell because none of the new gen have like just ended. You know what I mean? We don't know how long they're going to go on for. I mean, a lot of these animes are fucking sick and they have a lot of content, so they could go on for 7 seasons. But I just want to see that.
You definitely make a really good point because I feel like that's one aspect of anime and even like TV. Like I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but you know, you have House of Dragon, Game of Thrones, like a lot of those HBO shows, Sopranos. Um, I'm sure there's like a bunch of other, you know, you got like 6, 7 seasons and you Breaking Bad, like you want to keep coming back for that next season. Like they leave you with those cliffhangers. I think that's a cool aspect of anime. Like, you know, that world building and just keeping on with the story and stuff. You're right. I hope the new gen does bring some of that longevity, and a lot of them aren't even like 100 chapters in. I think Kaiju is like 110 or 11. So like even that by like a one season of anime is usually like 30-ish chapters. That's like not a lot of content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then also we don't know how much longer they're gonna go on for. You know what I mean? So that's why it's
Yeah.
like it's too early to tell. But it's one of those hopes where it's like it's not gonna get shorter. But it kind of feels like everything just is. I mean, like I don't know how long Tokyo Revengers have been going on for, but Tokyo Ghoul was real quick. But it's not even like the attention span of the viewers, but it's the endurance of the manga creators. You know what I mean? Because like some of them just get fucking sick of it after like you dedicating 4 years every day to it. You know what I mean? And they're just like, yeah, I can't fucking
Yeah.
stand this. Not everyone can be Oda, and we see that that also has health effects too because he's been having health problems. I know a couple years ago he definitely did where he had to like take a bunch of breaks. Like it's not like healthy to do that. So like I understand how it's hard to do it, but I'd still like to see animes have some sort of longevity. You know?
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good point you bring up too. Like Oda just had laser eye surgery, I think, last year, and he's been maybe more vocal than everybody else. Like I know Akatami from Jujutsu Kaisen's gotten like really sick and had to take some weeks off. Like Oda will be the kind of the forefront of being like, yeah, we got to take breaks because like we live super sedentary and unhealthy lives, and I could see how like, you know, I know Akatami complains about Jujutsu Kaisen and like fucking Gojo all the time. Like that's your whole world, like your job, your income, like, and it's cool to see it blow up and become like a global sensation, but like I'm sure you do kind of want to do something else. And he did actually say Jujutsu Kaisen was like a test for him to see how people reacted to characters and death and who
Oh,
they got
so
attached to. And he's like, I wanted, this is like my pilot for the next manga. I want to write the ultimate, most perfect manga ever written. Which for how much he's complained about like Gojo and some of the like story aspects, I was like, all right, bro, you're hardcore about it. So like I'm super excited, but I'm sure that'll be, quite a few years down the line.
yo, I cannot fucking wait for that. That's gonna be amazing, dude. That's gonna be insane. That's like the test for something, and also that he loves Akame ga Kill because the way that was done was just absolutely incredible. But yeah, that's like it. Also really depends on the person because like, I know for me personally, like I want to do stuff that I love, but also I want it to control my life. I want it to be everything. Some people and like if you want to like be in manga and like create that kind of stuff, like that's the type of person you need to be because it will consume your life. It will be like everything that you do, and you will be doing it constantly, and it'll be all you focus on and think about. But I don't think a lot of people understand that when they get into it, and then they start doing it, and then it blows up, and you never expect anything to become successful. It's not like you ever post a YouTube video and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get millions of subscribers one day. It just happens. You're like, oh fuck, and then you end up getting into this groove where things get popular and start heating up, and you keep doing stuff like you keep dropping that manga, and it just starts blowing up, and then you have to keep going with it, and then you start having that extra pressure, and then it becomes all you do, and then you're kind of like, why, when did I get into this? I didn't want to do it like this. I was just having fun, just fucking around, and like going to bartender. I know you guys are gonna completely, miss this analogy, but in Bartender, that dude who was writing, he said he just enjoyed writing because when he got home from work, he fucking hated his job. Writing was fun. It was his muse. It was the way to get rid of, stress and stuff. It was just something he found fun. And then it ended up taking off. And now he's doing it full time. And now he's like, I don't know what to fucking write about. He's like, this is not what I started writing for. So I feel like it definitely takes a certain breed of person in order to create stuff like Oda does and like to have that longevity. But it all depends on how short something is. I don't want something that's going to be 2 decades long. But like I like how Black Clover is like 200 plus episodes. I'd love to see Wistoria, be 200 plus episodes because Wistoria is sick. But it all depends. You know what I mean? It all depends on the person. It all depends on how good the anime is, how the follow through, people's attention spans. It's this new generation is going to be a lot to look at and kind of see how anime is going to be looking in the future.
It's a really, really good point. And I kind of got some of that from like music and stuff. Like that analogy with the writer is perfect because like I always enjoyed playing music and writing music and making songs just to like do it. It's like a creative outlet. Or when you get home from your shitty construction job, you just want to like get your emotions out without hopping on the game and accosting somebody else on Call of Duty. I would never do that, right?
No.
um, but like, yeah, then when like the business aspect comes into it, like it's not as fun, or it's like, all right, you have to be posting Instagram every day. You have to like be promoting your stuff. It's like, if you like it, great. That's why I wrote it, but I didn't write it to become like a business or like make money off it. You know what I mean? So I can definitely empathize with authors who like, and especially with how like, Shonen Jump comes out pretty much every week. Like you
Hmm.
have very strict deadlines. I'm sure you have an editor who's like probably up your ass about like how far are you? What's the plot point?
But then
So like,
changing things, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you know what? I don't like this. Change this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you have the entire say. Like, we've seen animes and like people talk about that where like they're a manga artist and then they go and set it in. They're like, you know what? People aren't liking this. Try to do this with this relationship and like change like major aspects or like certain things about it. So like it's constantly being revised that entire week as well.
yeah, and like I guess that's one without, going on a diatribe here, like that's one of the aspects of like society of when you have like a popular form of art, whether it be music, your drawing, your manga, your TV script, whatever, when it changes from art to a business and you start getting money involved and there's people and companies involved that have invested in you and your product, like all right, well, I've spent X amount of dollars on this. I don't really fucking care if you like it. This is what we want to see. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
as the author, it's like or I always just relate to music. Like you get that band, it's like, oh, we'll give you $10 million to write this record, but it's going to be a radio record. You need four poppy radio love songs. Like it's like, well, that's not what we are as a band. It's like, yeah, but you took the money, so this is what you're going to do. So I'm sure there's a lot of that, but you make a really good point too. Like this next generation and people's attention spans will impact how anime is written and produced, for this next generation, which isn't, it's not going to be like next year. I think Kaiju kind of is in a weird spot where it's still like very relevant with some of the popular shonens out there, but like some of these new gens are gonna, yeah, really feel the impact of how society shapes that stuff. Which you
Yeah.
see it everywhere. TV, music, art. It's just kind of like, I guess, speaks on society and us as an audience, so to speak.
Yeah, and like there's a shit ton of variables. That's why it's gonna be interesting to see kind of how it plays out. And the crazy thing is too is that like I feel like if anime blows up like in America and like outside Japan, like that's gonna be great, especially because we have Hulu and Netflix that's really picking up a lot of these shows, making it easy for people to watch. But the problem is you need to sell manga. That's what they're looking at. They don't really care how many people watch an anime. That doesn't fucking matter at all. What matters is the manga sales and the Blu-ray sales. That's it. And you're not going to see people that are going to be attracted to these animes through Netflix, through Hulu, buy that kind of stuff. You're not going to see them be like, oh, like I don't think half of them won't even know. I think they're just gonna think it's cartoons. You know what I mean? That's what they just see. Like, oh, cartoon. They don't understand that it came from manga first, and that manga sales depends on if it's gonna get another season. If it's interesting enough for another season, if it's even gonna get animated in the first place, and then it's just like, okay, well, Blu-ray sales also help with that kind of stuff as well. So I feel like it's gonna come down a lot to that, and kind of like not just bringing anime, outside of Japan and kind of like making it easily acceptable, but understood and understanding the culture of it is going to be a massive piece as well. Because you talk about the HBO shows like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, they went on for ages. So I think that people do want multiple seasons and everything like that, but they got to understand that you got to do multiple things to get a lot of seasons as well, like continually buying the manga and Blu-ray and all that other kind of cool stuff. So I think it's going to be like a really interesting time where it's going to be like, all right, it's going to be cool to see how things play out.
You're 100% right. Like it's all about the manga sales. And I guess as an American, I do it backwards. Like if I see an anime or something, I was just telling you, as soon as Wistoria is done, I'm gonna pound through that manga, and like you'll see something, and I'm like, oh, I want to read the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've done it a bunch of times. Kagurabashi and Jujutsu Kaisen were the only two like mangas that had so much hype. I'm like, I'm gonna read this before it gets animated. Sakamoto Days is kind of like that. I haven't read all the way through it, but and then obviously, I'm guilty of it. Like it's the same thing as pirating and stealing music or whatever. As much as I would love to have a massive library filled with, 5,000 volumes of manga, we don't really have the space to do that. So like, I read it online, and like that doesn't get the author any money. Sure, you're getting like that appetite for it online. People want to read it, but like you're not actively paying into it. So like, I'm sure all that kind of plays into it. And I was just reading an article about how piracy's like costing the manga industry like hundreds of millions of dollars, which like I don't really believe that, because just because I don't read it from, Miyamura's Twitter every Wednesday morning doesn't mean I'm all right, I don't have that. I'm going to go out and buy the book now. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, my problem with it is I don't think it's your fault if it's not being brought to you. Like the thing is that like Asia seems like it's very kind of stubborn. You know what I mean? Where it's like we don't really care about the other part of the world. Like Japan's just happy if Japan's happy. You know what I mean? They don't care about how Jujutsu Kaisen's doing outside of Japan. If you guys want it, you can have it. But all that matters is do people here like it? You know what I mean? And that's why we don't see manga being easily accessible outside of Japan or merch. And that's why you see people just creating their own versions. I have a bunch of anime shirts. None of it's by the creators. I have a Makima shirt. It's not by the people that made Chainsaw Man. They're not seeing that money. It's some kid who created the design. Was like, this is sick. Put it onto a shirt, and then I bought it from him. Plain and simple. And that's what we're seeing. So even if like watching anime for free is like one thing, but like with like manga and stuff, and like especially like merch and apparel and stuff, it's like if you don't like branch out with that, how do you expect to make money? Because it's just everyone else taking advantage of that image or that brand or that design and making money off of it instead. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't think that that's true, because
100%.
it's like they're not even giving you a chance to like be able to support the manga artist by buying it from them, even if it's just digitally.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to think like Naruto and One Piece, like I'm sure Viz Media and like Jump, they get a huge cut of that. It's not like these, manga artists are living in Beverly Hills with massive, amounts of money. I'm sure all the hands that commercialize stuff are probably making the profit. But, I
Mm.
would hope that they they do really well. I'm sure some guy like Oda's really rich, but it depends. That's obviously like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It's not the typical experience, but I try to support like Kagurabachi almost got axed really early on because it was moving too slow and people were like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, please move faster." And I'm glad they didn't because like now you have a really really good series to work with and I feel like it's pretty popular. But yeah, it's I think as long as you're taking an active interest in it, that's still more important than like making sure you buy it and do it the right way. Like especially as a Westerner, I feel like the interest is important. But you're right, like it's all about manga sales and Blu-ray sales in Japan, and if you don't do that first, it's not going to get out to the world.
Well, the problem is too is that like what is it called, like localization. Like a manga artist is not gonna be able to translate their manga in like all these different languages to make it accessible for everyone around. You know what I mean? Some company's gonna pick it up, them do it, and then they get most of the profits because they kind of did everything. So it is like a system that doesn't work, but it's like how are you gonna get it to work type thing. There's too many things that you have to work with, and it's too kind of complicated. But it's definitely something to see and keep an eye on because I'll say one thing, more and more great animes coming out. It's animated so well, so something is going right. So hopefully, the people that are designing these animes or mangas are getting paid what they should. Because again, they're the ones birthing it. So hopefully, you kind of see the new generation take off and follow through. But I think that's it. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty spot on like look into the future. I was I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Hope you had a great weekend. And hopefully you enjoy more anime and get addicted and don't go outside because anime is great. And that's it. Bye. Peace.